No, I actually like Caitlin. And I'm just being real and truthful. She has brought millions. I wouldn't be surprised if it's billions of eyes onto the W and onto women's sports.
Although Sophie Cunningham has never been afraid to speak her mind, her latest comments about Caitlin Clark have everyone in the WNBA talking. She addressed the growing rumors about Clark leaving the league or playing overseas, saying the real story has nothing to do with excitement and everything to do with the intense pressure, impossible expectations, and constant challenges that come with being the league's biggest star. According to Sophie, Clark is dealing with far more than fans realize, making this a story about endurance rather than opportunity. Cunningham has built a reputation as one of the WNBA's most outspoken players, choosing honesty even when it comes at a personal cost. While many players stick to carefully crafted answers, Sophie openly shares her opinions, and she has paid for it. In 2024 alone, the league fined her thousands of dollars for speaking out. It started with a TikTok comment criticizing questionable officiating, which cost her $500, followed by another $500 fine after discussing inconsistent referee decisions on a podcast. When asked if the WNBA had fined her, Sophie confirmed it without hesitation, revealing she was hit with a $500 penalty after the podcast episode. Sophie Cunningham made it clear that she has no plans to stop speaking out, even if it continues to cost her financially. She believes the league would rather players stay quiet, but she refuses to follow that path. With WNBA salaries ranging from around $64,000 to $242,000, a $500 fine can be a significant financial setback for many athletes. Yet Sophie keeps sharing what she believes fans deserve to hear. Her willingness to accept criticism and penalties instead of staying silent has turned her into one of the league's most outspoken voices. That reputation is exactly why her recent comments about Caitlin Clark have captured so much attention. Fans know Sophie is not someone who chases headlines or creates drama for attention. She speaks from personal experience as someone competing in the same league and dealing with the same pressures every day. Because of that, many people believe her words carry more weight than rumors or social media speculation. For weeks, the biggest question surrounding the WNBA has been when Caitlin Clark will finally return to the court. Reporters have repeatedly asked coaches, team officials, and league representatives for updates, but every response has been vague, offering little more than day-to-day evaluations and no clear timeline. That uncertainty led to endless speculation among fans, with many wondering if there was more happening behind the scenes. Then Sophie addressed the situation on her podcast and made a statement that immediately changed the conversation. She said that if it were not for the WNBA, Clark might already be playing. The comment spread quickly because it came from someone inside the league rather than an outsider making guesses. Sophie explained that Clark's absence is not about lacking toughness or being unwilling to compete. Instead, she believes the real issue is the extreme physical, mental, and competitive demands placed on players in today's WNBA. Clark arrived after an incredible college career at Iowa, where she packed arenas, broke scoring records, boosted television ratings, and became one of the biggest stars in women's basketball history. However, Sophie suggested that college success does not automatically make the transition to the professional level easy. In the WNBA, every game is more demanding, every opponent is elite, and every mistake is magnified. According to Sophie, even a generational talent like Caitlin Clark needs time to fully adjust to the speed, intensity, and constant pressure of the league. Her message was never meant to question Clark's ability. Instead, it highlighted just how difficult life in the WNBA can be, even for its brightest stars. Sophie believes Clark is facing a challenge that goes far beyond recovering from an injury, and that surviving the league's relentless expectations is just as important as getting physically healthy before making a full return. Sophie Cunningham explained that Caitlin Clark could likely already be playing if she were in another league or overseas, but the WNBA demands far more from its players. She said rushing Clark back too soon could risk not only her season but her entire career. That is why her comments caught so much attention. Sophie was not just giving an injury update, she was revealing how difficult life in the WNBA really is. According to her, the league is far more intense than college basketball. Clark dominated at Iowa with her scoring, passing, and leadership, but the professional game is faster, stronger, and much more physical. Every player on a WNBA roster was a star before reaching the league, so there are no easy matchups. Sophie stressed that talent alone is not enough at this level. Players must be fully prepared every night because every possession is a battle. She even described WNBA games as being so physical that they can feel more like rugby than basketball, with constant contact and hard collisions that fans often do not fully notice. She added that officials allow a high level of physical play, making toughness a requirement rather than a choice. For a player returning from injury, that creates an even bigger challenge. Unlike many leagues where stars are slowly eased back into action with limited minutes, the WNBA expects players to compete at full speed immediately. Sophie's message was not meant to question Caitlin Clark's talent. Instead, she wanted fans to understand that Clark's recovery is about more than healing from an injury. It is about making sure she is physically and mentally ready to handle one of the toughest basketball environments in the world without putting her future at risk. Sophie Cunningham explained that the WNBA leaves almost no room for mistakes, especially for players returning from injury. One moment of hesitation or one bad step can quickly turn into another setback. She believes Caitlin Clark could already be playing if she were overseas or still in college. But returning too soon in the WNBA carries much greater risks, including re-injury, lost confidence, and long-term career setbacks. Sophie made it clear that she was not questioning Clark's toughness or work ethic. Instead, she was highlighting how demanding the league has become. With every roster filled with elite talent, there are no easy games and no weak opponents. Every possession is highly competitive, and players must be fully prepared before stepping back on the court. According to Sophie, Clark's absence is not about a lack of heart. It is about making sure she's completely ready for one of the toughest basketball environments in the world. She believes today's WNBA has become so competitive that even generational stars need extra time to adjust and succeed. Sophie also suggested that another issue exists beyond the physical demands of the game. She hinted that the league does not always apply its standards equally, raising concerns about favoritism and a system that may not treat every player the same. Rather than staying silent, Sophie chose to speak openly about what she believes is happening behind the scenes. Continuing her reputation as one of the WNBA's most outspoken voices, Sophie Cunningham argued that one of the biggest problems in the WNBA is what she believes is inconsistent treatment of players. According to her, some athletes seem to receive more protection from officials, while others are left to deal with repeated physical contact without the same level of support. She pointed to a controversial moment when J.C. Sheldon struck Caitlin Clark in the face during a heated game. Many fans believed the play deserved a harsher penalty, but after review, officials reduced it to a lesser foul. In another incident, Marina Mabrey shoved Clark to the floor with both hands, yet no player was ejected and no major punishment followed. When the crew chief later explained that the play did not meet the standard for an ejection, the decision sparked even more debate among fans. Sophie believes moments like these send the wrong message and support her long-standing concerns about inconsistent officiating. She has spoken openly on her podcast about games where some stars appear to receive more favorable calls, while others are allowed to absorb repeated contact. Sophie also mentioned Paige Buchers as an example, saying there were games where defenders could barely touch her without a whistle. She made it clear that her comments were never meant to criticize Paige's talent, which she respects, but to question whether every player is being treated fairly. For Sophie, the issue is not about individual players. It is about maintaining consistency, fairness, and credibility across the league.